Road transportation makes up over 20% of all carbon emissions in Minneapolis, with cars being the primary culprit. With the climate already warming, simply maintaining the status quo is unacceptable. Cars are becoming more efficient as hybrids gain market share and all cars increase gas mileage, but even a relatively clean car emits multiples of shared transit options like the light rail. With the new federal government, it is likely that regulations will recede, and it will be up to coordinated action on a local level to make the massive changes needed to maintain the health of the planet. In 2014, Twin Cities drivers spent an average of more than 24 hours driving in traffic jams. This not only results in increased emissions as cars sit on the highway with their engines running, but also increases stress levels and reduces productivity as people are spending hours just waiting to get from one point to another. Residents of the Twin Cities want better transportation options, and in some cases, they are using them.
The problem of public transportation is currently being addressed in several capacities. One of the ways that the state of Minnesota is addressing the issue of transportation to the suburbs is with the North Star. The North Star first opened on November 16, 2009. This train stretches all the way from Big Lake to the Target Field Station where the blue and green lines can take commuters to their part of downtown. It travels at an average of 47 miles per hour, and as of 2013, they get around 3,100 riders each day. Express routes from the suburbs to Minneapolis, St. Paul are extremely helpful in solving the congestion problem that is the rush hour traffic. An express route is designed to go directly from the original stop to the destination with minimal stops along the way. An example of an express route is route number 252. This route starts at the 95th Avenue and 35W Park and Ride and goes straight to the University of Minnesota. Instead of stopping at multiple cities and stops along the way, it hops onto 35W and goes straight to the university. Another great way to combat the traffic jams that occur during rush hour is to use the Ride Match program offered by Match Transit. This program matches you up with fellow commuters who live by you or work by you. By doing this, commuters can easily find a ride to work, which saves them money as well as time. There are commuter lanes on many of the major highways that people can use if they have 2 or more people in their car. These lanes make it easier for cars with more people in them to bypass the traffic jam and get to work faster, making this an appealing choice for commuters. These systems work together to create a convenient way to get to work that's not only cheaper but saves them time. According to the American Public Transportation Association, individuals can save up to $9,242 a year using public transportation. By offering these facts and routes to everyone and for everywhere around the Twin Cities, commuters should feel assured that there are options out there for them other than driving to work and school.
Earlier this year, Arcadis, a design and consultancy firm, released a report of the world's most sustainable cities, including Seoul, London, and Stockholm. At the top of the list was Zurich, Switzerland, with a population roughly the size of Minneapolis. Over the past few decades, they have made significant transit improvements, some of which could effectively be applied in Minneapolis. In 1996, the city banned the addition of new parking spaces unless existing ones were removed to ensure that the overall number not rise. This is not as harsh as a complete ban because it allows for shifts as the city changes. They have installed traffic sensors that can adjust the timing of traffic lights and modify toll prices to discourage driving at peak times in crowded areas. Roads were replaced with bike and pedestrian paths, which initially drew the ire of local businesses, but once implemented, foot traffic increased significantly. This transition turns loud, crowded, dirty streets into a sort of outdoor mall. 32% of residential traffic in Zurich is now via tram. This widespread adoption has a number of causes, including the high number of routes and trains, their consistent punctuality, but also design elements. The trains are designed with extensive window space, including on the back of the train, allowing riders to have a full view of the city no matter where they are on the train. This has made riding far more enjoyable, especially for children. This is extremely important. Research has shown that commute times are one of the only things we do not get used to, so it is critical that public transit be as welcoming as possible. Children who grow up riding the train and looking out the back window for fun are more likely to feel favorably about public transit and advocate for it going forward. How can Minneapolis apply these lessons? First, the light rail should be expanded. The Southwest Light Rail Transit program looks to finally be on its way to completion. Over time, it should continually be expanded into suburban areas of high traffic, giving suburbanites a straight route to downtown. Lessons about train design from Zurich and elsewhere should be applied in terms of the external and internal appearance of the trains, plus attention to natural lighting. The Southwest LRT project is projected to cost roughly $2 billion, so an expansion like this would not come cheap, but there are sensible ways to fund it. First, a toll can be introduced during rush hour on major highways. The toll would be paid whenever the existing traffic lights for highway entry are active. Cars are already at a standstill at this point, so it would not meaningfully worsen traffic for those who continued to drive, but it would provide a disincentive. A point of pain like the introduction of a new toll is often necessary to make people reconsider their habits, and if introduced in concert with light rail expansion, it could accelerate the switch for many people. These changes would not be immediate, so in the meantime, it makes sense to leverage the city's existing bus infrastructure. Create a separate highway entry lane to the highway for buses, where there is not already one, allowing riders to avoid the toll and save time. One further area Minneapolis could borrow from Zurich is having traffic lights in certain areas respond to the presence of public vehicles. Light rail trains should be given priority over car traffic, changing the light to green when a train approaches, to make ridership more convenient. Downtown would be an obvious area to start this, but it could be expanded as the light rail expands over the coming years. Minneapolis has been named one of the most bike-friendly cities in America, and it makes sense to continue to encourage this by expanding bike lanes and ensuring that riders feel safe from vehicular traffic while in them. In Zurich, 42% of transportation is through walking and biking, at least during the warmer months. Minneapolis should look to approach these numbers. To summarize, Minnesota is taking some steps to improve public transportation, but given the scale of the problem, massive progress is needed. Minneapolis should learn from places like Zurich and implement best practices, but citizens need to be informed and choose to make better transportation decisions as well. There is much work to be done, but transportation improvements are a major opportunity to reduce our environmental footprint.